mic, it's green, it's going up, so that's gonna let you know that it's getting sound. Listen. You hear it? No. Testing, testing, testing.
Testing.
Testing, testing.
Testing, testing.
It's on. They shaking their heads.
Who is these kids?
Who is all of these kids?
Huh?
What's all these kids?
They asked them to go to watch for basketball. That's why they're here.
Oh.
Who can lead the
Bye-bye.
Pledge of Allegiance? I guess me.
No.
No. Miss
Miss Washington. I'm gonna call her tonight.
Okay. Are they ready?
Are you ready?
Okay.
We will now call the meeting to order. I will now do a roll call. Ms. Merlin? Just say aye. Just tell her say aye. Say aye. Ms. Lucas Payton?
Aye.
Ms. Washington?
Aye.
Ms. Lyburn, the chair, votes aye. So there is a quorum. It is 4-0, so we do have enough for a quorum for our meeting tonight. We will now do the Pledge of Allegiance, and Ms. Washington will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Will you all please stand?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to say that also.
Any changes or approval of the agenda can be made now. Are there any changes to the agenda? Oh, okay. Students and principals report. Colonia Beach Elementary School Student Liaison, Miss Alea Zako.
None of them are here because they got big softball games.
Oh, what we gotta do? Where we at? It's not on here. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
There's a second? I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion passes 4-0. I forgot that, y'all. Laura is not here.
But the two Rayons are not here. They have ball games.
They had ball games. Principal. Are you filling in for the, okay, perfect. Go ahead. You can give your report.
Good evening, school board members. I hope you enjoyed your spring break and have some time to relax and rest. As I continue to talk about some happenings at CBES, I wanted to inform you that SOL testing is right around the corner. Students are preparing for them diligently. We are ready. First, I wanted to start off by saying March 25th was a great day for middle school softball and baseball teams. The middle school girls were up against Northumberland and won by 2 points. Baseball was super close with 1 point away from winning the game. I also wanted to recognize Bella Tompkins for pitching 3 innings until she switched out for half an inning and then switched back in to pitch for the rest of the game. Sean Stone needs a shout out for pitching 3 innings and getting 8 strikeouts. Congratulations to them both. Next, the 7th graders voted on the graduation song with the options of See You Again, I Will Always Remember You, and Billie Jean. I Will Always Remember You took the win by 22 votes. Our 7th grade class is super excited to rehearse and sing on May 14th. Again, please come out to support your 7th graders at the elementary school gym at 6 p.m. and the kindergarten students as well at 9 a.m. Ms. Ziller had the 6th and 7th graders do research about their favorite animals before participating in a field trip to the Richmond Zoo. On March 23rd, the 6th and 7th graders students had a great time looking at all the animals, taking pictures, and learning new information. Our class got a shout out the next school day during the morning announcements for our excellent behavior on the trip. SCA voted on the end of the year party and chose to have an ice cream party to celebrate. Thank you for listening, and I hope everybody enjoyed their spring break.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was great.
We would now have do you have a replacement for the high school student, Mr. Lush?
First and second string are both playing baseball and softball.
Yeah.
Who has a report to read, or I can provide it to your choice.
You can read the report for them.
I have
You-
Sophie read it.
Yes, you may. Yes, you may. She reads really well, yeah. Beautiful.
So Senior Board Rep Olivia Cook wrote a letter and asked me to read it tonight. Again, good evening. Unfortunately, I have a softball game that has prevented my attendance at tonight's meeting. Despite my absence, I felt it was important to share an issue I had presented previously, which was the low number of seats available for students to enroll in the Chesapeake Bay Governor's School Dual Enrollment Program. I bring up this same issue tonight as time is dwindling for this issue to get resolved for a rising sophomore class. In years past, applicant numbers have been low. Many students were not interested, did not understand the program, or did not hear about it. This year, I, Mr. Lush, as well as CBGS staff, made it a goal to increase interest in the program at Colonial Beach. We did this by personally communicating with and encouraging prospective students, holding informational field trips, and even pulling eligible students for a presentation with Dr. Wright, the director of Chesapeake Bay Governor's School. All this effort has certainly paid off, as 10 of the 14 eligible students applied and tested for the program. This is the highest number of applicants that I personally have ever heard of. For reference, when I applied, there were only 2 other applicants, and only 2 of these 10 applicants were offered placement in the Chesapeake Bay Governor's School program, a reduction from the 3 seats that were available for the 2 previous classes. With the class of rising sophomores having record-breaking interest in CBGS and such an outstanding pool of applicants, I believe this year the number of seats should continue to be 3 per year rather than reducing the number to 2. I want you all to know that this is not coming from a place of bias, rather a place of acknowledgement and advocacy. My unique perspective as a senior at CBGS allows me to assure you all of its great impact on the students involved in the program. The Chesapeake Bay Governor's School has given me a strong sense of volunteerism and environmentalism. I should have prepped it more like my daughter here. I have learned so much about public speaking, collaboration, leadership, communication, and perseverance throughout my time at CBGS. The program was the deciding factor in my high school career, and if I were a part of the freshman class this year, there is a chance I would not have been offered admission. In my physics class at CBGS, we talk a lot about kinetic and potential energy. When something has a lot of potential energy, all it takes is a small force to turn it into kinetic. In the same way, all of these good students have tons of potential, and Governor's School can be the push that makes them great. I understand the expense, but I believe it's extremely important for this opportunity to be available to more students, not less. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. That's good.
We will now have the high school principal's report. Oh, why am I missing that? Well, we're going to go back to her. We're going to switch it over.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. I can't believe we're already here in April. Very excited to be back from spring break as we pare down to the end here. At the Colonial Beach High School, we celebrated 19 Northern Next acceptance and the 2 Governor School students, which I'm very excited about. And something I'm especially proud of, I'm sure Dr. Addo has a vivid memory as I do my first year here. We had, I believe, 2 students applied for the community scholarships. And this year we were up to 18, which as far as I know, again, is most ever students we've had that have applied for community scholarships. We have an amazing community, and I'm glad that students are working in partnership to take their next steps. At the high school, Dr. Lewis will share later, we're partnering to continue to increase our program of studies and growing everything we're offering students. We're getting ready here in a couple weeks for prom. on the 18th, so it'll be here before you know it. We got the baccalaureate rocking and rolling. Ms. Brown and I met to review that today. We have all our course requests tallied up to start finalizing that master schedule and outlining those pieces. And we talked last week about the A and B, and I'll be able to answer stuff on that later too as needed. And that's about it for me. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Lush? No questions. Thank you, Mr. Lush.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the increase in the students at both schools.
We will now have the elementary school report by Ms. Coates.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to highlight 3 things from my report, and one of them is we had a fantastic career day. The students were very engaged, and the presenters came with activities for students to do. It was one of the best I've seen. The other 2 things I'd like to highlight is I thought it was really neat that Ayla Zako, our SCA president, participated in the Virginia School Board Association's conference for liaison. She was the only middle schooler there. So thank you, Dr. Addo, for getting that information to us. And she was very nervous. That's why I included that picture for you, because I thought it was hilarious. And then lastly, I wanted to highlight our students, which is also a shout out to our staff. 92% of our students showed Drifter Pride in the month of February. That's pretty incredible.
Yes.
So, any questions about my report?
Any questions? No, no questions. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your report, Mrs. Coates. Now we will move on to presentations/recognitions. Winter Sports All Academic District Athletes Recognition.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is probably one of the best moments. We can just move it here. We're gonna do things a little bit differently today. We're gonna recognize our scholar athletes, those that have performed well on the athletic field, but also represents themselves, their families, and Colonial Beach very well in the classroom. And sometimes we neglect to recognize those folks, and we can only see who can run and score a touchdown or shoot a basketball. But that classroom piece is so important. I always say there's a big A to a little a, if you know what I mean. We do have academics and we have athletes. You can figure out which one is big, which one is little to me. So today we're going to recognize the big A, the academic piece of this. That will take you a long way. And I speak from someone who was a good athlete himself. The classroom piece is so important. So as I call your name, I know some of them are playing softball and baseball. So we'll hold their recognition for them. We're going to do a little different. As I call your name, please come around. And we're going to stand in front of the chair. And then they will be behind you. We're going to take a picture. You want to take a picture next to the color? I know Zachary is not here because he would have presented if he was here. But I have Zachary, Papa Nicholas. I have Jaleel Bowie. Is he here? Is he playing ball too? William Christian. Someone's going to walk up here. Logan Dale. Struck out. Brett Barrett. Jocelyn McGinnis. She's not playing. Where's Jocelyn? Okay. Harmony Ward. Yeah.
Arm game.
Let me see if I can get a couple more. Josie Carpenter.
At least we'll have two, two or three. Right. Yeah.
We have a few more to go. Let's see what's next. Emery Steffi. Lillian Plunkett.
No, she's here.
And let me see who's this last one. Josiah Cole. So we'll hold on to these and give it to them, so if you guys will back up just a little bit, and then the board members will stand behind you and we'll take a picture.
Okay.
I'm gonna get in a hole somewhere. I'm not that short, huh?
We good? Can you see everyone?
Can you see us? Miss Washington, you need to come in some more?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes. We would now recognize the Northern Neck Technical Center / Skill USA State Competition recognition.
Excellent. Now we have several folks we were not able to recognize last month because they were still competing. And we want to, the board would like to recognize these folks that have competed in Northern Ed Technical Center competitions in both the Skills USA, sometimes just in the region, and then we have several at the state competition. And if I may have this person competed in collision repair technology and for achieving first place in the Skills USA regional competition and third place in the Skills USA state competition. That is a fabulous feat to Kenneth Knightsey. Is he here tonight? He's playing. He's playing?
Oh.
You want to accept it for him?
No.
Okay.
I'm trying to go straight home after that.
And then the next student is a competitor in cosmetology and total fantasy for achieving second place in the Skills USA regional competition and top 10 in the Skills USA state competition to Gracie B. Craft. Is this photo working? And still in the, well, I just mentioned it, competitor in cosmetology, total fantasy, for achieving second place in the Skills USA regional competition and top 10 in the Skills USA state competition. Congratulations to Evelyn Highland. Last but not least, we have a competitor in engineering, urban search and rescue, and for achieving first place in the Skills USA state competition, and they're advancing to their national competition. Wow. Congratulations to Preston Albertson. Is he here? Preston? No? We'll give him his award when he can get a hold of him.
That one works at home.
Yes. Yes, that would be great. Yes, and we'll get in closer and, yeah.
Yes, I know. Well, congratulations, George.
Yes, yes.
You done? Do you gonna do the dismissal? You gonna do the dismissal? Dismissal, dismissal.
If you all would like to be dismissed, you can leave now, or if you would love to stay for our meeting, we would certainly welcome you to stay if you would love to. Thank you all for coming.
Okay.
Information items, capital improvement, Dr. Addo.
Excellent. Good evening again, Madam Chair, board members. You were presented with the revised three-year capital improvement plan for 2026, 2020 through 2029 at the last board meeting. Pending any suggested changes, we ask for approval today. In the consent agenda, Dr. Schmidt will update you at a later time down the agenda on the current projects being done right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Presentation of 2025-2026 elementary school yearbook information, Ms. Bog and Ms. Bogue and Mrs. Whitman.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Our goal was to sell 110 copies of the yearbook at $28 each, and as of this morning, we closed our selling of the yearbook and we sold 126 copies, so we went over our goal. We had every teacher submit photos, every grade had photos into our Google folder, and because our class photos are taken in the spring, they weren't going to be included in the yearbook, and Ms. Coates, our principal, went around and got class photos of every grade so that they could be included. Photos were checked, double-checked, and approved, and submitted this morning, and everything is officially in. Our next meeting will be to schedule our pickup and figure out how the yearbooks are being distributed and determine whether or not we're having a signing party. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. You had a great sale this year.
We did.
Yes, yes, thank you so much. Presentation of elementary school SCA information, Mrs. Mitchell and Ms. Ziller.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you. So Ms. Mitchell couldn't be here tonight, so it's my turn. So we have 34 students in 4th through 7th grade that belong to SCA. Our officers are President Ayla Seiko, which she's doing a phenomenal job, Vice President Ricky Harper, and Secretary Sophie Lush. Thank you, Sophie, for also filling in tonight. Our goal is to promote school spirit, student engagement, and to model Drifter Pride. We have meetings every second Wednesday of the month. We had to change because of Drifter Club, so now we're due Wednesday instead of Tuesdays. Collaboration, we created a dojo point tracker outside of the cafeteria. They have little dojo dudes, and the members go around weekly, and they get their numbers from the teachers, and they change the numbers, and they write them on their little dojo dudes for the younger grades, so that they can see their points. Our SCA officers help with Mrs. Coates with the daily announcements every day. We also celebrated Black History Month this year. Each grade level gets to read about, and they pick someone who has made an impact on society. They're read over the morning announcements daily in the month of February, and next year we're looking at additional ways to celebrate rather than just that. I've also spoken to BAM about helping us, and they said that they were thinking that they could do something for us. Community outreach, we had bingo at the Ice House, which was a very much so success again on February 22nd. We did a Super Bowl where we collected cans of soup during the Super Bowl for Colonial Beach Baptist Church's food pantry, which was 2nd and 4th grade, I believe, won that. And then we have fundraisers. We had to change our February treat for my sweet to March because of the snow. And we did a Sweeten Your St. Patrick's Day, Airheads. We're also doing a silent auction with themed baskets this year, and it'll be silent auction during our concert next week. And some of the choices were each grade level would pick a theme. Some were Taco Tuesday, Baker's Basket, Family Night, and much more. And then our SCA members, as Sophie had said, members chose an ice cream party for the end of their celebration. Do you guys have any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. SCA is busy. We will now have a presentation of 504 information. Mrs. Tabler, Ms. Ayers, and Mrs. Brown.
Good evening. I'll
Good
go
evening.
first. I am the case manager for the pre-K through 5th grade 504s. I have 19 504s on my caseload, and I broke them down by grade level in my report. And then I also broke them down by the disabling conditions for which they were found eligible. And then just to stand out, kind of a note, 2 new students were found eligible for 504 plans since the last time I reported. And I'm sure they'll talk about this too. We're getting ready for spring testing, so we're making sure case managers we're making sure all the examiners have the accommodations for students to test. You want to go with yours?
Okay, and I have grades 6 through 8. I have 9 on the caseload, and also listed it out by grade level and their disabling conditions. And since just this year, 1 6th grader was found eligible for a 504, but he was subsequently referred for special education eligibility, and 1 8th grade student was found no longer to need his plan.
Thank you.
The 3 of us use the same format. And I was counting on it being on the screen, but it's in the vault, right? I have grades 9 through 12. I have 23 on my caseload. We have exited 3 seniors this year. I don't remember what my standout notes are, but they're on the report. Right. Oh, 22 on my caseload. If you could scroll down one more page, Megan. Thank you. Added 1 junior due to health concerns. And then this one says 2 seniors completed graduation requirements early. We exited 1 more senior late the Thursday before spring break. She decided that she was fine without it. She has figured out what works for her, and she only had 2 accommodations anyway. She's learned how to live with it. So.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Presentation of National Honor Society information, Ms. Donovan.
Good evening, you guys.
Good evening.
So the Honor Society, this is the 3rd year running it. It's definitely been through some things. It was originally Nurse Weaver's project, and then it, was voluntold to me. Here I am. So our current society with the new members is 38. So there were 10 members inducted only a couple of weeks ago, and it's quite the impressive number because the GPA is official at a new level. It's raised. So when we first started, we had to start at 3.0 and up, and now it's officially 3.5 to match national standards. So it's pretty amazing. Out of our sophomore class, that we have 10 members who had a GPA that qualified. So members that were newly inducted: Amani Burton, Carissa Christensen, Zanaya Dickerson, Chloe Donaldson, Marley Hooper, Callan Meyer, Brandon Oliver, Blake Steffi, Jalen Wolf, and Jocelyn Wolf. So far this year, we've had several events that we've thrown, actually one before the school year even started. So I did a family movie night the week before school started, and that was a fundraiser that went really well. We did a movie night in October to celebrate football playoffs. That did not go as successfully. We did a hot cocoa handout in December. That was just something for us to be kind to give back. Some of you may have seen us. We were in front of Pier 909, just handing out hot coffees all day and hot cocos. Upcoming, we have the blood drive. That is next week, and if any of you can give, please consider. I've shared it out on all of our platforms, and you can ask me about it if you'd like. We could use a few more donors, actually. So we have the blood drive, and then, we're kind of coasting to the end here. We have graduation coming up. With graduation, we have 6 senior members who have earned over 100 hours each, and they get a distinguished medal with their graduation. So, do you guys have any questions for me?
What date is the blood drive?
It's next Tuesday, the 14th. It's at the high school.
What time?
It's all school day, so 8:30 to 2:30.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Presentation of 2025-2026 high school yearbook information. Mr. Whitman.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How's everybody doing tonight? Our yearbooks, the yearbook that we put together this year is completed. It's finished and officially submitted to the publisher last Friday on the 3rd. The ship date is expected to be May 4th, and it should arrive here the last week of school before we leave for the summer on that 15th. Our goal is to sell 55. I know that doesn't seem like a lot. That's based on the previous years. Of how many books were sold. We've sold 44 out of the 55. Sales are still open. Sales are still coming in. I do fully expect to sell all 55. The supplier has explained that they will submit or deliver an additional 10 to 15. And that's just to compensate for any damages. We don't pay for that. If we can sell them, we can sell them. If not, it's no charge to us. With that said, that's all the information I have for you for the update on the yearbook. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Whitman.
All right, thank you.
Presentation of high school SCA information, Ms. Brewer.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
For past accomplishments, we hosted a morning coffee fundraiser raising $631 with $354.18 in expenses for a total profit of $276.82. We held a hot chocolate fundraiser generating $121 in profit with no additional expenses due to leftover supplies. We create monthly themed bulletin boards to engage students and staff. We highlighted kindness over hate in February, where every student contributed 2 hearts with kind words. And we participated in a field trip with Feed My Starving Children, packaging thousands of meals as a group for children in developing countries. Our upcoming plans, we continue to do monthly themed bulletin boards. We are planning and organizing the high school field day, and we're working to increase overall student engagement. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Presentation of annual plan for Part B flow-through funds, 611 and 619. Mrs. Knightsey.
Good evening, Madam Chair,
Good
Madam
evening.
Vice Chair, and board members. Megan, do you want to bring it up? So the first 2 tabs that'll come up, and this is our annual plan for federal funds, 611 and 619. 611's for our school-age children, students with disabilities, 619's for the wee ones, pre-K and younger. So the first two tabs are just welcome and instructions. We're going to skip those. The third tab, cover and certifications, outlines our requirements to comply with federal regulations. It's tentatively dated for superintendent's approval tomorrow, pending the board's approval tonight. We will need your approval on this. If we move to the LEA Assurances and Certifications tab, this lists all of the federal codes for which Virginia is compliant with. Virginia code aligns with federal code and actually goes above and beyond federal code. That includes our GEPA statement, our General Education Provisions Act statement. We have no barriers identified, and we don't discriminate with our access to programs and activities. The next tab is probably the simplest one, LEA jails. So we have no jails in our jurisdiction. So that's just a simple no. The next tab, the implementation narrative. So this is reporting on our annual plan for the 24-25 school year. So we did spend our funds as outlined. That was for a portion of one special education teacher salary, a portion of the director of special education salary. And we had to also set aside proportionate set-aside funds, PSA funds, because we had some homeschooled children that were identified as students with disabilities. Those children have not accessed the funds through multiple means of outreach to their families. So we'll be able to reabsorb those funds and put them back towards salaries when the 25-month time period is up. It also outlines our CCEIS, our Comprehensive Coordinated Early Intervening Services, which we had to set aside 15% of our federal funds to the penny to address our disproportionality with Black students being labeled with specific learning disability labels. So we have not been disproportionate since December 1 of 2024. And so I'll get to our happy news with that in a little bit. The next tab, MOE, is maintenance of effort. Essentially, the federal requirement of maintenance of effort says that we have to spend as much or more, well, not as much, we need to spend more in state and local funds than we did the previous time that we met maintenance of effort. We meet MOE every year, so that would be, we need to spend more in local and state funds than we did last year. And we met our MOE this year also. All right, so that takes us to the 611 and 6. Oh, also on this tab, so we don't, thankfully, we do not have to anymore set aside Comprehensive Coordinated Early Intervening Services Fund, CCEIS, because again, we're no longer disproportionate to the level that calls for that. We're also not going to voluntarily set aside those funds because we want our funds to go toward students that have already been identified with disabilities. And we do have 2 students who, again, are homeschooled that are students with disabilities, so we need to, again, set aside funds. That's what those PSA funds are. So the state has a calculation tool that helps us come up with that figure of $6,141.62. That'll just kind of be reserved in a pot, and if the students need to access it, they will be able to access it until those funds run out. If they don't access them after 25 months, we'll be able to, again, reabsorb them and then put them again towards salaries. So the 611 tab, this is the actual money tab. This is, again, for our school-age students with disabilities. Our total allocation is $144,328 exactly. That's reduced by those PSA funds of $6,141.62, which leaves us $138,186.38. And we're going to use that money for a portion of one special education teacher's salary and for a portion of the director of special education's salary. And then the last tab, the 619 tab, this is for, again, our wee ones, the pre-K kiddos, or those who are even younger than pre-K age. We can start serving kids at age 2 in Virginia. So we get a whopping $6,781, and that will be spent on a portion of the para that works in the pre-K classroom that serves students with disabilities. So that was quick. Any questions?
Yes.
Sure.
You said you have 2 students that are homeschooled?
Yeah, so we had 2 students that were identified as students with disabilities that were in our school system that subsequently were pulled to be homeschooled. So because I know of their existence and because of child fine obligations, we have to set that money aside. If they don't access it, then they don't access it. And really, the way that we have our PSA funds outlined is for speech, OT, and PT related services. If you needed services because of like a specific learning disability or behavioral intervention due to autism, we would say, no, you need to come to the school. You need to enroll your child in the school if you need those services. But because they are still taxpayers and they're still paying into the pool, we have to have those funds available for what we determine is appropriate. And our Special Education Advisory Committee, SEAC, and I consult, and we kind of determine what we want to use those funds for.
So you just explained if they needed services like speech therapy and all those little things, they would have to come to the school and get it. So if they don't use those, what other kind of services would they be able to use those funds for? If my question is making any sense, if it's sitting there and you already said all these services, they got to come to the school to get. So with that money.
So they can access speech, occupational therapy, and physical therapy through the PSA funds. Okay. Any other services, we'd say, sorry, that's not outlined in our federal or our annual plan. Okay. You need to enroll in the school for any other services.
Okay, it makes sense. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Presentation of the Carl Perkins Grant 2026-2027, Dr. Smits.
Good evening. I did not print this out twice because it's 58 pages. So I'm looking at my computer while we're looking up here. Mr. Meir is responsible for career and technical education, and he is, has worked on this application along with myself and Mrs. Brown, who's here, and Mr. Christensen. There's a comprehensive needs assessment that has to occur as part of this process, and we all worked on that together as well. So the first, this is not in tabs on here. It's going to be a lot of scrolling, so I'm just going to start talking. The certification and assurances tab is 17 pages, and it talks about all the uses for federal funds and how we have to align spending to different categories and what those categories are can be used for, and that's what the majority of the certification and assurances information is about. If you go to the next tab, you'll find the performance assessment information, which is an agreed upon rate, pass rate that we should have for students in order to achieve our goals that are set forth for us by the state. An example is the agreed upon pass rate for reading and language arts is 97.41%. We did not make that because we had 92.86%, which means we had one student essentially who did not pass their reading SOL. That's what is in the information on the performance assessment tab. There's a checklist tab, and then there's the CTIM schedule tab. And all of those tabs talk about ways that we're going to support our students in attaining their CTE goals, how we're going to support teachers in helping their students attain those goals, and different ways that we can improve our program. There's some demographic data in there about special programs and special populations. Special populations are considered like they would say girls who were in auto body would be a special population. But there's not necessarily a special population for a business class, right? Because we find that both boys, males and females, take those classes equally. So when you look at these schedules, it talks about ways that we're going to increase the special population's participation in different programs. So there's a whole bunch of information about that in there. And then the last tab for us is our budget tab, which what is all this was for is for $11,464.63, which is used to enhance our programs of study for career and technical education. Typically, we can buy furniture, we can buy computers, we can buy other technology for the students' use, and enhance the computer labs and the experiences that our students have. And that's what we're looking to spend our funding on. So, are there any questions for me?
Any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Smits.
Okay, thank you.
We will now have the Colonial Beach Public School Program of Studies 2026-2027. Dr. Lewis.
Thank you. Like Dr. Schmidt, I will not review the entire program of study because it is 55 pages. I will just highlight the changes for the upcoming 2026-27 school year. I asked him to also join me because some of these are his recommended changes as well. So just an overview, you'll see the revised course change policy and deadlines just to align with our policies and those of VDOE. And that includes having the 3E framework for expanding career planning. You'll see the new course offerings and electives, updates on dual enrollment, and some of the CTE that's being covered. You will see a change in when the drop add period ends. It is going to be reduced from a 10-day period to a 3-day period. There will be one deadline day of August 14th of this year, and any late requests can be appealed, but they're limited to the month of August. Academic planning, Dr. Schmidt shared the CTE academic planning, but it will also promote 3E as included now in our framework for employment, enlistment, or enrollment in post-secondary education. So career planning is expanded, so those tools are expanded and increased alignment with counseling services. There is the potential to expand courses to include photography and yearbook. There's academic support, 1 through 4. There's a pathway for cybersecurity recommended, and also computer systems technology recommended. There are yes. Thank you. For dual enrollment, there is expansion of our dual enrollment coursework. Right now, we are planning to expand through math. We have one teacher who has qualified to teach dual enrollment, and we have improved the structure and descriptions of those courses with an emphasis on the college credit pathways. The CTE section has been updated with the pathways, and it's going to continue to be updated. There is a change in grade 8 programming. The grade 8 art has been added along with the class choice, elective choice of healthy choices. There's a greater focus on wellness and digital literacy. So with the early completion policy, there is a shift with the proposal of changing how the schedule operates. There is a shift to where any proposed early completion will be considered by Mr. Lush on a case-by-case basis. It's a little bit less structured than previous years because we want to be sure that students are able to convert to the new schedule. There are no major changes to graduation requirements as far as number of credits. For a standard diploma, it's 22 credits. For advanced, it's 26 credits. Some of the key takeaways are stricter scheduling flexibility. So we're trying to make sure that students' schedules are really up to date and finalized early. The career readiness and pathways we discussed. The changes in the CTE coursework, and also just more planning structured tools. Some of the big impact areas is just There is flexibility with the electives, but the schedule flexibility is a little bit more limited. The expansion, of course, of the dual enrollment and being workforce aligned in those electives and the names of those electives, and just having a stronger advising structure. Would you like to add anything? You have any questions?
Any questions?
Could you go back to that schedule changing where you had that August 14th date?
Yes, ma'am.
You said the last day they could change a schedule.
They have 3 days as opposed to 10 days.
The goal is to get it out to them early. It's on Control F if you need to find anything special.
Because I have my notes highlighted. I can go in and try to pull the page number for you.
Okay, and looking at that, I see where it says.
It's page 8.
In August the 14th, but some of the language above that, it said after the 10th schedule change meeting. What does that mean?
It says after the 10th scheduled class meeting.
I apologize,
Class
I
meeting.
missed that, yeah.
But here it says 3.
Yeah, I
So,
missed that.
so we'll amend that.
Okay.
Yep.
I was reading that.
Yeah, that's a little bit different. Okay, okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay. This I knew it wasn't making sense. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yes, I understand.
That was the only question I had.
Okay. Any other questions?
No. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. LaRoche.
Now we'll have the Columbia Beach Public School Employee Handbook 2026-2027. Ms. Donovan, is that her name?
Good evening, school board members. I am bringing to you tonight a summary of changes for the employee handbook for 26-27. I believe you all have seen, I believe got a copy of it that had some of the updates in it in red, but I also submitted a summary of changes. I'm not sure, Megan, if you want to bring that up for me, or if that would be okay, just to go over the summary. Okay. So the first thing that we have that we wanted to go over is, of course, the table of contents. Page numbers will be updated with the final draft when that happens. I'll go back and get those corrected. The first thing that I went through was on the welcome page, on page 3. I wanted to give a new, fresh, and enlightened welcome to our employees that are coming in. So I have generated most of the same content that we had in there previously, but just updated and refreshed it. The next item that's been updated is the school board members on page 4 and 5. We added the new school board members. We made sure those were taken care of. I have in there then for the school board office itself, the director of federal programs, I have as pending until we see if we want to fill that position. So that one is blank at this point. And the high school assistant principal at this point is still, of course, pending and is blank. I did update then with some of the new members that came on board. One was myself, which I was very honored to have that, and Ms. Dickerson was updated on that. I also saw and added the Director of School Nutrition, Lisa Hall. I did not see her name on there, so I wanted to add that and make sure that that was all correct. Mission statements and all those look great. Goals were great. There was just one small correction on the employee handbook page of page 7, just was missing or had an S in there that I took out. The next part that we looked at to update was actually the benefits. Benefits are a big passion of my part of HR work, and so I looked at some other handbooks from other schools as well, too, plus what I'm familiar with as an HR professional of what I like to see and what I've seen in handbooks before. So I took out a page that had the actual rates because they will change. We have those in the fall that'll come out when we do open enrollment, and we have a very nice benefit booklet that's provided. So that has all the current rates that'll come out that all employees will get a copy of physically, and it'll be online as well. So what I would propose doing is putting in what our benefits are and explaining them a little more in the handbook so that employees can kind of refer back to that quickly as they're looking at this, because this is online, would be available for us to share, with prospective employees as well. So that way they can see, exactly what we have and a small synopsis about it. So page 10 and 11 go into that information. I also added the Employee Assistance Program information. Mental health is extremely important, so I wanted to make sure that that was very easy, accessible. And the nice thing with what we have available is our Anthem offers our Employee Assistance Program, and it's available to all employees, whether they're a member or have our Anthem health insurance or not. They have the same benefits all employees do. So I wanted to make sure that was added into our handbook as well. So on page 12, this is where I took out the rates. There's a big section taken out there. Everything with VRS stays the same, except for when we get down to a section, there are rates that the employer contributions are listed, and I updated those for the current coming year. We've already been given that information by VRS, so I made sure that that was updated on page 13. And then we drop down till we go where we have some leave, talking about some leave. On the leave, the only thing really with that, it said that it would be on a leave request form. And then we also, we have two ways of doing our leave. We do a leave request form, which is a Google Doc, and then we have the program, the ESS, which is part of our leave program. So I added, it must be entered into both a Google Doc form and then the ESS program. So I just updated that for our leave to make sure that that was clear. Under personal leave, I also updated, it's the same thing, where they have to not only put it on a leave request form, but it needs to be entered into the ESS platform as well, too. And the form should be submitted to the supervisor for review and approval decision. That was an update that was part of the other leave that I just brought down under personal leave. Under professional leave, there was only one small thing I saw. It had in there the building principal must give an approval. I added or a supervisor. So principal or a supervisor gives, the approvals on those. And then we will move down to where we come to a section under workers' compensation on page 18. I wanted to just highlight there that when our employees use workers' compensation, if they have to call in, there's a hotline, and it's called Company Nurse, and it might get a little confusing, so I wanted to make sure that was highlighted with the phone number. Employees are given information about that, as well as the building principals about calling in if there is an accident for an employee while they're working. This is what the number they call, so I wanted to add that into the handbook as well. And then moving on, we'll go to page 32, 33, and it's talks about food service. And it was just a small recommendation, actually, from Ms. Hall under the food service section, just to be a little more clear about no watches when prepping food, no facial jewelry allowed as well, definitely nothing dangling, that type of thing. Wanted to make sure that that was clear in there. And then there was a section about employees can choose to wear a school spirit shirt instead of an approved uniform shirt on Fridays. They don't have approved uniforms, but also they can wear school spirit shirts anytime during the time at work. So we took that one out just so that was a little clearer on that part of it. And I'm sorry, if there was any questions as I went along, I'm sure you would stop me, but I should have mentioned that to you. And then moving down to page 36, this is our new payroll calendar that I believe will be presented a little bit later, that I worked with. Finance, I believe, gave that to us that they'll go over. So that's the new dates for payroll. The next item is under page 42, and that would be just updating the Title IX coordinator, which happens to be me. So that would have my contact information in it. And then we go down to page 44, and this is actually the progressive discipline procedures. And this is all just copy and pasted out of the policy that was adopted on December 10th of 2025 from GCPD-BR1. So that was adopted back then, and that's just now into our handbook to make sure we have all the correct information plugged into that. And last but not least is page 49, the new school calendar for this coming year. And so that is to be added in there as well. And that's all we have with updates for the employee handbook. So again, any questions on any of that?
The only question I have is, I meant to mark it. I think it said community nurse is the number that they would, you put that number in there, that if employees were injured, it's under workman's comp.
Workers' comp?
Should it be a space in between there?
No, it's actually, that's exactly
That's
the way
how
it
it's,
looks.
okay.
Yeah,
I was
great
wondering-
question. Yeah,
Yep.
it does look kind of
And then
quirky.
AFLAC. Some AFLAC is capital A and small FLAs. The FLA and C is small, but
Mhm.
then if you drop down a couple of lines in another paragraph, you'll see AFLAC in all caps.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to make the consistency of that. And that was it. That was
Okay.
all.
Thank you. And Ms. Washington actually submitted some things she saw too.
Okay.
That I think actually came out of the policy off of board docs. So if, I'll check both areas and we'll look at them just to see if something needs to be updated on that and can report back.
Okay, all
Okay.
right. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think I might be next, so I'm just going to stay.
For the athletic handbook?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, yes.
Okay.
All
There was not too many changes on that, so I also did a summary of changes on that one as well, too. Of course, table of content page will be updated with a new date, and then the contact information, the high school assistant principal is pending on that. The school calendar page was updated, and then the payroll dates page on page 21 was updated. So very few updates on that, and I did check in with Mr. Payton and Mr. Lush on those just to make sure, and there was no other adjustments that I was given on that. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. If Ms. Knightsey could just come back for one question from Ms. Washington.
Absolutely. I apologize, you left really quick after the last question. It was a good
I
one.
wrote it down because if I don't read from what I've written, then I start to ramble and who knows how long I'd be standing up here.
Thank you for coming back. My only question was, you had mentioned that there was a decrease of the number of students who were disproportionately identified within the SPED program, and I was wondering, could you just elaborate a little bit of how that decrease of students came about?
So the state number crunches, and I have that formula, so I can do the same formula. We look at how many students in every different racial category and also in specific disability categories compared to the total number in that category, then compared to all of our students. So those ratios come up with a risk ratio, and if our risk ratio of identification is 3.0 or higher 3 years in a row, then we are mandated to set aside those comprehensive coordinated early intervening services. So we were 3 years in a row, 3 times more likely to identify Black students with a specific learning disability. And that triggered that CCEIS. We actually were at that number 4 years in a row, so we had, for year 3 and year 4, had to outline the CCEIS plan and set aside those funds. As soon as we're no longer at a 3.0 risk ratio, we drop off of CCEIS. But it takes 2 years for that to happen, because like I always say, it takes a long time for the data to roll uphill from the state level to the federal level and then to come back reporting wise. So we are still actually going to be implementing next year our CCEIS plan from last year, but this annual plan that I presented tonight, which is for next school year, no longer requires us to set aside those funds because we're no longer disproportionate at that 3.0 or higher risk ratio. We're actually about 1.5 or closer to 1 right now. And I'm targeting both our other health impairment category, because that one sometimes slips a little high, and our specific learning disability category.
Okay.
I don't know if that answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you for that explanation.
We will now have the Columbia Beach Public Schools instructional calendar for 27-28 school year. Dr. Lewis.
Thank you. You should have received a copy of the draft and proposed 2027-28 instructional calendar along with my presentation. We had a committee composed of principals, teachers, support staff, student, parent, and school board member. The team met twice, February 27th and March 17th. Our initial planning focused on regional alignment and consistency with the Northern Neck Technical Center. And our additional recommendations, final recommendations, will show after reviewing our stakeholder surveys. We took that information into consideration, and also staff wellness. Some of our core priorities, again, were alignment with the Northern Neck Technical Center and regional districts, balanced instructional quarters, and you also have the presentation if you want to pull that up, and semesters, in a consistent spring break timing of the first week of April. And again, student and staff well-being, considering the breaks that we have each month. I'm on to the next page. So these are some of the key calendar dates. So you can look at your calendar, but I know it's really kind of small. So these are some of the key calendar dates. The school start date for 2027 is Monday, August 9th, and the school end date is Friday, May 19th. Graduation would be scheduled for May 20th. The instructional quarters recommended: quarter one. Quarter one would begin August 9th through October 8th. Quarter two, October 13th through December 17th. The third quarter would be January 4th through March 10th. And quarter four would be March 14th through May 19th. Some of those have a few more days, some have a few less, but they are across the entire school year aligned. The major student and staff breaks include a full week recommended for Thanksgiving break. Winter break is recommended to be December 20th through 31st. Spring break is recommended for April 3rd through April 7th. And then there are some additional long weekends. Of course, the Labor Day weekend, 2 days of a fall break, but just Columbus Day, MLK Junior Day, President's Day, and the Easter spring holiday. Of course, Juneteenth is observed, but not during the instructional calendar year. Our teacher professional development days and work days are highlighted on the next page. The pre-service days are August 2nd through 6th. The week before that would be when new teachers would have their orientation. And then you can see the work days designated for teachers, so that pre-service day, along with October 11th, 3rd, March 13th, and May 22nd, are teacher work days for their administrative work, so finalizing report cards. And then professional learning days are embedded in our calendar for November 1st, which is usually a virtual day, January 14th, and February 18th. The next page, I highlight just a little bit of overall feedback from our stakeholders and their priorities as far as what we should consider in our calendar. We had a total of 86 responses, which I considered a pretty good response rate, with 61.6% being staff, 50% parents or guardians. So the theme the trend that came up was a strong desire for consistent regional alignment and an emphasis on mental health and breaks for students and staff. So you can see, we also asked if we had to make up inclement weather days, what would you prefer? So that was some of the stakeholder feedback there. With supporting remote work days, also if we desired, which we have not planned for yet, but if we desired to have early release days for conferences, that parents and other stakeholders would support that. Monthly wellness breaks, they overwhelmingly agreed with our spring break decision and recommendation, and they preferred a full week of Thanksgiving break. So some of our final recommendations you can see here for the calendar, and it just kind of shows some of the key advantages. We are compliant with our required hours of instruction. We're aligned with our Northern Neck Technical Center partner and our area partners. It incorporates a full week for Thanksgiving, balanced instructional quarters, to support assessment cycles and prioritizing student and staff mental health. Any questions?
No questions? All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Lewis.
Thank you.
Presentation number 2 of Colonial Beach High School's A-B schedule, Mr. Lush.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I went through it all last time. Should I kind of shortcut it and highlights, Q&A, anything specific? Do you guys think of any questions you want to kick me off with or save it to the end?
Yeah, you can just do some highlights and shortcut it, and if they have any questions, then they can ask them.
Perfect. Again, the main switch that we are reviewing is going from offering 8 classes in a 4x4 semester, meaning for the first semester, completely finished at Christmas, for second semester, to an A-B rotation, which would be the semesters of 8 classes would be every other day throughout the whole school year. We're already playing around with that with 8th grade, which they're doing that with their science and their history to give them more calendar time to retain content, to do better on the SOLs, increase those SOL scores. I was just reviewing with my team the other day, the possible increase for next year. I'll give you an example for reading. EOC, I believe the new passing, today if you took the reading EOC or end of term SOL, you score 400, you pass. Next year, you only pass, you score 476. So they are increasing that. So that, I mean, that's not official. That's what they're looking at transitioning to. So those are sort of things that are stoking our interest to make sure we're increasing our scores. Something like that, if I looked at my spring numbers from last year, our spring passing rate for reading for 11th grade was 85%. That change would drop that to 65%. So that's a group of students that would, have to do additional, earn their verified credit. The main thing I hit upon with you guys is that instructional gaps. That student, again, that, gets that D in that class, 10th grade English first semester, second semester, they don't take English. That's kind of a year of instruction. First summer, nothing. First semester, nothing. Second semester, so almost a full school year, 2 school years apart of getting those resources they need. So that's really the main piece I'm focused on to switch that A-B and build that consistency for all students. One question that did come up from Ms. Laura Allison, that's not here, was asking specifically about December completers. Something I did look at is for next school year. Really, there's only one student that I had that could hypothetically, without us being creative, graduate in December, because the other ones need more than 5 credits, 5 or more credits, and are either engaged in a winter or spring sport or are enrolled in Northern Neck or Governor School. So in order to do a winter or spring sport, be in Governor School or be in Northern Neck, you cannot finish in December. So that's really, and that one student that only needs technically 4 to graduate enrolled in a one-year Northern Neck program, so now they're back to needing 8. So that was one thing that Ms. Allison brought up I wanted to review with you guys. Transfer student impact was another piece. If a student transferred in, they were in a 8-credit schedule, they transfer in after December, they can only earn 4 credits for that school year. Because we're only offering 4 classes. So even though they're enrolled in 8 and they did half a school year at 8, they come to us in December. Under semesterized, they can only earn 4 credits for that entire school year. So that student would probably not come here. They'd probably go to another school. Or maybe they'd go virtual. This way, with the AB rotating, they just come right in and take all 8 classes and finish their school year taking those 8 classes.
Can I just, you said you had one student that could possibly finish in December, is that what you said?
When I'm looking at, so I looked at the senior class for next school year. And what I looked at was anyone who plays a winter or spring sport, they don't want to finish in December. Anyone who is in Governor School or Northern Neck, they can't, because that program's year-long. And then all the other students need at least 5 credits to graduate that are not in those camps. So that means they would all need to take 5 courses, which would take them first semester and second semester minimum.
I have a, can I add on to a question? I have a question. So if you have mentioned that there's a possibility of students, one student graduating early. However, if someone has earned all of their credits, could they potentially finish out the school year taking electives or other things?
Yeah, that's typically what always happens. So I referenced, like, when I went to school, when possibly you guys went to school, you took whatever, math, English, science, history, 2 electives, and you went to the next grade. You weren't counting your credits. You just were in class, you were in high school for 4 years. Present day, people play the math game, and they say, okay, I need 3 maths. Mr. Lush, can I take 2 maths 9th grade year, 1 10th grade year, and I'm done with my math? Like, I don't want to take math in 11th or 12th grade. I just want to be done. So then that person could decide to go to college and could get a standard diploma on 3 maths, not having taken math 11th and 12th grade. So this structure really builds in, and that's kind of what Dr. Lewis was reviewing with the program of studies, that more structured of the AB rotation year-long classes that we're building in. This when you take your math, this when you take your science. So we get back to the true cohorts that was used. We kind of became a la carte, and I'll take responsibility for that as Scott Lush guidance counselor. Got the job done, but I was playing a la carte. I was like, all right, well, put your schedule, make sure you're on track to graduate. All right, you're a sophomore, you should take that class junior year, but you want to fit your schedule. Whoop, a la carte. There you know what I mean? So we kind of built by need and then with the Ingenuity resource. But now through the partnership, we've really grown with Northern Neck, with Governor School, with those opportunities now with all the classes we can get for RCC that we can build back into our schedule for the dual enrollments on top of the dual enrollments we're offering at school, which all still align. You get that more structure in that true 4-year program. 5-year including that 8th grade.
Any more questions for Mr. Lush?
I love your creativity.
I do too.
I think it's just a wonderful way to be able to give the kids options. And so many of our kids are in all these different, like, in the trade schools and sports, but the kids are probably graduating at the highest level in their class, right? Having the ability to have all those options. I think it's great.
Yep. Thank you for that AB schedule. I think it's more beneficial for our students. So, thank you.
Can I have to ask one question?
Yep.
And a shout out to the 19 students that are going to go to VOTEC next year. But you said we only had 2 for Chesapeake Bay. Is that? Did we only have 3 that was eligible or qualified, or how we?
No, you won 10, I got 10. Who paid them?
I was just wondering, we only
We
had
don't have
2,
that
but we
one.
had 3 seats.
Well, let me jump into that. We have always, if you remember correctly, we have always had 2 seats every time there's application process when the sophomores applied. And I believe it was probably 2 or 3 years ago that we had basically a tie of two individuals. We had one that was definitely going, and then we had two individuals that were neck to neck that we couldn't decide who the second one was going to be. So the board voted to send both of them. That's how we ended up with three for that year. But the board made a statement, a declaration that that was the only year that we were going to do the three into the governor's school, and governor's school was able to accept the three because they only had 2 seats for us to fit I guess the allotment for Colonial Beach. But the board is also, you have the authority to approve and increase that size, and that's all, of course, based on budget, of course, and what is contributed to each student going into the governor's school program.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lush.
Thank you.
This is now the opportunity for community members to address the board. Do we have anyone from the community that would like to address the board? Seeing none, we will move on. We will now have board member comments and reports. Board member general comments. Ms. Washington.
I attended the art walk where the high school students' watercolor paintings were displayed at Colonial Beach Museum and Historical Society. It was great to see the talent of the high school students. A special thank you to Dr. Tanukin and the Colonial Beach Museum Historical Society for coordinating and hosting the event. And I also had the opportunity to attend the Drifter Pride Awards held on March 26th. 22 students from pre-K to 7th grade were recognized by their teachers for their ability to be responsible, respectful, and productive. Teachers wrote letters to the students explaining why they were chosen for that quarter. Some of the reasons students were chosen were being a leader when there was a substitute teacher, having a kind heart, balancing hard work with a joyful spirit, accepting everyone for who they are, being excited to talk about what they are reading, and having gratitude for their teachers. I want to congratulate the students who received the award, the teachers who provide the environment for them to show these qualities, and then parents for encouraging the students to shine.
Thank you. Ms. Lucas? Ms. Merlin?
General comments? I don't have any at this time.
Okay. The only thing I have is welcome back from spring break, and hope you all enjoyed your time and much-needed rest. We will now move on to Chesapeake Bay Governor's School.
Chesapeake Bay, I think we talked about the two people that are pre-chosen for next year. I think financially, hopefully in the future, we can have more. This year's a little bit of a tight year for us. And the Northern Neck Tech Center, I just started being the liaison for that, and I'm thrilled that we have that many kids that are able to go. The cost isn't quite as expensive as the Chesapeake Bay Governor's School, so I look forward to meeting all the new students that are going to start this next year, so it's going to be exciting year.
The next one is going to be Northern Neck Technical Center. It's cut off.
I just talked to her about both of them.
Okay, so you did them both together. Thank you. Committee liaison report, policy. We just updated and voted on new VSBA policies today. We had a special meeting today to do that, to take care of the policy piece. Code of conduct.
I know Dr. Schmidt has a meeting coming up on the 15th, so that's all I have.
April 15th.
April 15th, yes.
Okay. Calendar committee, Dr. Lewis have presented the calendar for this school year. We will vote on the calendar tonight. band, that is Miss Allison, and she is unable to be with us tonight. Town Council Liaison, Mr. Larson, he's not here tonight. Superintendent and staff reports, Dr. Ada, you may give your superintendent report.
We might have to remind him.
I lost my page for a second. Madam Chair, board members, and all those present tonight, I am excited and rejuvenated after spring break. And I was looking at a calendar. Can we say that we have 5 more weeks left of school until graduation and the end of the school year? I know it's probably not a good idea to be celebrating, but when you travel this journey with great folks and servicing kids every day to this point, you have to be glad and celebrate the progress and growth, not only for kids, but also for me and all of the adults. I hope they feel the same way, that I see CBPS as being stronger and better than we've been in the past. So thank you to all of you guys, the leadership team, our staff, for their dedication and leadership. Thank you to the board members for their leadership and support of the district and the kids. We are very excited. I'd like to say happy Assistant Principal Appreciation Week, as it is for our 2 wonderful assistant principals, Mrs. Huber and Mr. Ellington, for their hard work and being champion for kids in Colonial Beach. We also have Administrative Assistant Appreciation Day coming on April the 22nd. I just want to put it out there now and wish them happy Assistant Administrator Assistant Appreciation Day. And also we have a School Bus Driver Day coming up on the 28th of this month. So we haven't forgotten about you, Ms. Wagner, your crew. Well, we're going to give a shout out to you at the end of this month. Thank you all for what you do for kids. Just a quick legislative update. We are hoping that somehow the budget, the governor's budget, will be passed this month, at the end of the month. And that is a huge leap of faith. We don't know when that is going to happen. Hopefully it'll happen at the end of the month, because they know that school systems, divisions, are trying to complete their budgets and send out contracts before the school year is over. Hopefully they can follow Maryland, because Maryland just passed theirs today. So I'm hoping that it'll kick them a little bit in the rear end and make sure they compete with Maryland and get theirs done. And as always, we are waiting for some bills that are on the floor to be either passed or kicked to the curb that will have a huge impact on education. And there's a lot of bills that we're keeping an eye on. As soon as that has been determined, we will follow accordingly with modifying, revising policy, and also implementing what is required by the Board of Education. So we are in a waiting pattern now in terms of 3 areas because of the budget, and that is funding for the schools, meaning state and local funding amount that'll come out as soon as the final budget comes out. Percentage of salary increase for staff is another. And then lastly, we're still waiting on a final verdict about the retention bonus from the Richmond, from the governor's budget. And that is my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Moving on, we will now have the finance report by Ms. Fisher.
All right, so as of April 1st, our current ADM K through 12 is at 535 with, again, our budget was at 555. So we do have a current shortfall of 20 students. With pre-K, we are at 565. Our total revenue year-to-date, $8,774,803.50, with our total expenditures at $7,786,000. $1,638.67. Our total operating expenditures for February were $873,516.47. We currently have a remaining balance in our budget at 27.7%, and we are looking good compared to prior year. We're right on track. Any questions on that before I just highlight the payroll calendar for 26-27?
Any questions?
So just quickly, it's on the agenda for approval tonight, but the payroll calendar for 26-27 is on the agenda. The only thing that is being changed is there is a exception for the November payroll to be processed a week early. All payroll falls on the fourth Friday of every month, with the exception of November and December for next year due to the holidays. This current year, we only had to make the exception in December, but next year we will have to make the exception in November as well.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Fisher on expenditures or the payroll calendar? Okay. Accountability and operations, Dr. Smith.
All right, we've had a lot of excitement going on at the front of the high school. Walked around there today. They have demolished the front of the building so that the new facade can be built. They had the surveyor out there today trying to mark where they're going to put the new footers for the different parts of the front of the building that we're going to expand to, which is very exciting. All of the walls are up now on the inside, and they have drywall on both sides. They're not painted yet. They're waiting for the hollow door frames to come in, which should be in the next couple of weeks. And then the inside could be basically finished lickety-split. So now it's time to focus on the outside and that beautiful facade that we're all going to be enjoying. So those are the big next steps. The low voltage wiring has been installed. The plumbing rough-ins are complete. The bathrooms look beautiful now, even as they are roughed in. It's exciting to be in there. The parking lot at the school board has been started. We keep talking about this. Hopefully this is the last time that I have to tell you that paving is scheduled, because the man emailed me today and said he was going to bring his equipment on Friday and leave it there and pave it on Monday. So that is what is happening with the school board parking lot. Okay, school nutrition. I had to turn this in before I had March's numbers, but we are back. We are still like right where we were last year. We're holding just a little, slightly below meals per day that we did last year. So it's including two days of spring break, so it's important to note that. But meals are holding steady. Ms. Hall has made a, I would say, totally student-tailored, targeted menu for the last 5 weeks of school. It is full of delicious pizza options and chicken tender options and things like that. And this was we had a wellness committee meeting, and what a beautiful thing that came out of it was one of the PE teachers was talking about you having more protein at breakfast. So even though it's really hard to wrap all of those biscuits, like you don't think about all of the logistical stuff that goes into it, Ms. Hall has changed the breakfast menu to include many more protein options in the meal. So we're going to see how that goes. Trying something new, and just want to commend her for always being willing to be flexible and try to get these kids eating this food, this good food that they get. Custodians are doing a great job. Miss B is working on training her custodians on using some of these machines that she has, that she knows how to use now that we have a nice, stable workforce. She had a training for them on March 13th that went very well. She showed some videos. There's some YouTube custodians out there, actually, who will show you how to clean a classroom. We watched those, and my world was rocked when he flipped over the mop. You know, the mop is flat, and you use it one side, and then you can flip it over and use the other side, and it's clean. It was mind-blowing for me. So just have to share that with you all. So I learned something new as well. And then on the very bottom, the accountability, I think, had nothing on it, but we actually do have two things that are due. One is the student record collection, which Ms. Bowie is working on, and she always gets that in and gets it in on time. That's due in 17 days. And in 24 days, the CTE financial report is due, and Mr. Muir works on that. And that's not a laborious report. It's pretty straightforward. Are there any questions? Questions?
I just want to say, every time you talk about that parking lot, it rains.
Let's hope, because that slows them down.
It does.
Every
It
time they
does.
give you a date, it rains. and you
Yes.
can't do anything.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you've noticed that. It makes me
Yes,
feel
I
a little
have.
better.
Yes.
No, we're not.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Smits. Instruction and professional learning, Dr. Lewis.
Come up here. So you have reviewed my report, so I'm actually going to just be very short. One of the things that isn't on here because it happened right before spring break and I had to turn this in before is, this was my first year serving as a testing coordinator for WIDA because I'm over the ESOL program and we, have stipended 2 teachers to provide services to our students in both the elementary and high school. We completed WIDA testing the Thursday prior to spring break, and I have packaged, logged online, and shipped off all of our WIDA documents, and so we should be receiving our reporting back over the summer. You see some highlights about the specific activities that the math specialist, instructional coach, the ITRT, and the reading specialist are working on. Some of the photos you see on the right is our March 13th Division-wide Professional Development Day. And we always have a target based on the instructional strands and goals from our professional development plan, our strategic plan. This time we had to pivot because something that I had planned, the person wasn't able to come. And I will say that what we had to do that second part of the day was one of our most successful as far as feedback with discussing test taking and addressing those SOLs across all instructional areas. So that's what you see there. You can also see the students testing there. So they're doing some gifted testing. There's been prioritizing of processing the applications for students for Chesapeake Bay Governor's School, and then the applications for the summer regional governor's school. We continue to do collaborative planning across the board for the instructional team. This week was our last week of collaborative planning as testing SOL assessments began today with our IRW for 5th grade. In special education, Ms. Nicey gave a wonderful presentation to you today, and that more information about the goals for CCIS are there. Also, the annual plan, she discussed that with you today as well. Also, our speech therapist is focusing on winding down the year. She's also been doing some assessment, and her focus with her current roster of students is wordless picture books. You have a report on where we are with our attendance from our student support specialist, Ms. Wilkins, and you can see where we are at this time as of March at the high school and the elementary school with chronic absenteeism. We have continued our attendance recovery academy on Saturdays through this month, and for the high school, our new percentage was down to 18%. If you count those attendance recoveries. At the elementary school, with attendance recovery, it would be down to 10%. Lastly, for human resources, you got to hear from human resources on the updated employee handbook and athletic handbook. She's also training with Power School to work in applicant tracker, our applicant where they apply, where applicants submit their applications. And there is a way to, once we offer contracts, to put those documents in there and also have them sign off on documents like the handbook. And so she's been going through training for that. She also met with Vector Solutions on possible course offerings. We have a certain amount of courses for like safety trainings, things like that for staff that are included in our contract with Vector, and those courses are offered through VACOR. So Ms. McDonald has been looking into how we can take advantage of those courses. With our accounts payable and finance assistant, she has taken on several new tasks, mainly supporting federal programs with doing all reimbursements in the Omega system. And she also has been working with Dr. Schmidt to be sure that our summer reading program is launched. Ms. Dickerson will be over the summer reading program and is planning a calendar of events. Any questions?
Any questions for Dr. Lewis?
Thank you.
I'm glad to hear that someone will be coordinating our book van over the summer. So I'm happy to hear that. Thank you so much. So we will move on to consent agenda. I'm gonna pull out approval of the salary scales for the 3% increase pending governor's FY27 budget approval. I'm gonna pull that piece out because it has to be presented to us. It have not been presented. Also, I'm gonna pull out the approval of the superintendent's FY27 budget because I believe we approved that budget last month. We did not? The public hearing. So we're going to approve it tonight. I just want to make sure to leave it in there.
Madam Chair, the 3% is in the budget also.
Okay.
So that'll be just an adjustment of the salary scale for 3%.
Okay. Okay.
So that was also presented during the budget process.
Okay. I just want to make sure. So we would leave those two items in there because it was the only two questions that I had because I want to make sure that everything is done in order. So we have the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
All in favor? Chair votes aye. Motion passes 4-0. Motion to adjourn. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion passes 4-0. The meeting is now adjourned. Consent agenda is now, you approve everything at one time. That's why they do all the presentations first. Yep. That's why I asked the question. Mm-hmm. Yes, yep. The minutes is in there too. All right. So here we go. We're done.